That's what you're getting on social media. When the reality is, I was not living a holistic life, and if I did, I would have been way more fulfilled, way more aligned, and way wealthier.
You can choose to sacrifice today for a brighter tomorrow and do that on your own terms, or you can choose to consume and enjoy pleasure today. That's your prerogative for a worse tomorrow. And
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 957, 3 Simple Steps to Setting and Achieving Your Goals. Today, for episode number 958, does your success require sacrifice? This is something that is out there in a bunch of different posts, and a bunch of different people have opinions about it. And I think for you, depending on where you want to get in life, it's very important that you come up with your own opinion on this. And that is our goal today, to deliver this in a way that maybe hasn't been delivered to you in the past. Alan, you wanted to talk about the Law of Tradeoffs from one of John Maxwell's books. That was one of our through lines here.
so you'll notice if you are on YouTube that at all times I have 3 books behind me. They are my 3 favorite books of all time, because when you combine the 3 big ideas in those books, it's the most powerful thing, I think. So the first one is the compound effect. The second one is essentialism. The third one is the 15 invaluable laws of growth. So the 15 invaluable laws of growth, the thing that I love about that book is its laws. These are not John Maxwell's opinions. These are things that are just a fact, whether you want to call it a scientific fact or whatever. One of them is the Law of Tradeoffs. The Law of Tradeoffs states that there is no such thing as something for nothing. If Kevin and I want to impact your life, we must invest our time on these microphones. We must record on StreamYard and pay for StreamYard. We must upload them to our production team, and then upload them to Buzzsprout, and then upload them to YouTube. Everything in life requires one of 3 resources: time, energy, or money. So there's no such thing as something for nothing. So even if you play the lottery, you still have to buy the scratch ticket or buy the Powerball ticket or whatever it is. And so I wrote this down. There is no such thing as something for nothing. To think otherwise is naive. And I think that it's really important for everyone out there to start to try to think a little bit more rationally. And I know that rational thinking is something that I work on constantly, every single day. I want to think more rationally, more rationally, more rationally. And Kevin and I, that's what we're committed to. And that's why we talk about, fears and irrational fears and things like you're 39,000 times more likely to be hurt by your motor vehicle that you get in every day than by getting eaten by a shark. Statistically speaking, mathematically speaking. And so when you're in the ocean, though, which one are you more afraid of, right? You get in your car every day thinking nothing of it, but yet when you're in the ocean, all you can think of is sharks if you're like me. So on this episode, we just want to be direct about the law of trade-offs and the fact that your success will require sacrifices, because I think there have been many times in Kevin and I's 5 years together in this business where people have tried to really persuade us that we work too hard. And that may be their opinion, and that may be valid based on their goals and dreams. But based on what we are trying to accomplish, based on our most important objectives, based on our impact that we want to have on our listeners, it's just not true. And quite frankly, some of those very people have come back to us asking us for help when they fell way behind. And I know why they fell behind. You're never going to meet an Olympic athlete who wins a gold medal and says it was easy. And I say that all the time, but and I don't want to sound redundant here, but we are on the next level university. If you want to get to the next level, it's going to require a next level of trade-offs. You're going to have to trade off the old level, the old identity, the old behaviors, the old habits, the old mindset. You're going to have to at least transform those things. And so what got you there, what got you to level 5 in the video game might not get you to level 6. It might not get you to level 10 or level 15. And so whether it's working harder or investing your money, I want you to ask yourself this question. Where are you wanting results without any sacrifice? Where are you wanting a better body without wanting to work out? Where are you wanting to, be wealthy without working harder or smarter? Or where are you wanting to be wealthy without investing your capital wiser? Or where are you wanting to be healthy without studying health? Where are you wanting results in your life without also wanting to study that thing, or to work harder, or to create more virtue, or to create more skills? Ask yourself that question. Do you really believe in the law of trade-offs? I mean, even right now, Kevin and I both could be with our intimate partners and we're on these microphones right now. That's a sacrifice. That's a trade-off that we've consciously chosen, and it needs to be said, because there's a lot of fluffy stuff out there. I joke and I laugh, and we joke about how, some people in the personal development industry, quite frankly, are selling mental candy, and I think we're selling mental kale. And it's easier to sell candy than it is to sell kale. And but kale's better for you, and we know that. So that's what today is about, is does your success require sacrifice? The answer is yes. And thinking otherwise is just holding you back.
So the definition, and there's like a bunch of different ones. I think this is probably the easiest one to understand. To give up something for the sake of something else. That is what a sacrifice is. You're giving up something for the sake of something else. And there are a lot of people, and this is the thing. I've been saying this a lot lately on podcast episodes, where you might see a meme, but the problem is that is only the top layer of something that probably has 100 different layers. And if you only get the top layer, you might think that's the actual truth when the root of it might not be the same. I think what's happening, Alan, really, I really, really do, is now more than ever, there's a lot of very successful people who I think may have in their past life, like so earlier in their business, when they were building their business or building their wealth or whatever it is, worked too hard, quote unquote, to the detriment of their family, of their health, whatever it may be, because they weren't doing it holistically. And now they're telling people that you don't have to sacrifice in order to accomplish your goals, because I think they're going the other way. And I think that's normal. I think it's cyclical. I think it always works that way. I think people go too far on one end and they go too far on the other end, and eventually maybe they find the middle. But this is the thing. I told Alan before this episode that my goal is to deliver this I don't want it to come from a place of ego or from a place of intensity. I want you to question, do you really believe the people who have accomplished what you want to accomplish didn't have to sacrifice something? Because this is the thing, and this is like the weird thing. Just because I am giving a piece of advice in this moment does not mean that piece of advice is what got me where I am today. It just doesn't. That just means that's what my belief is now. Again, I could tell you can eat pizza for every single meal and look the way I do because I can eat pizza for every single meal. That wasn't the fundamental truth that got me to where I am today. It wasn't. It wasn't. Do you know what the fundamental truth was? I ate chicken, broccoli, and rice for every day for 3 months to get in the best shape of my life. Now, again, I'm not saying you have to do that, but I do believe that no matter what, you are always making sacrifices. And I do understand people trying to get you to the point where you can be so transcendent that it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. That's a different story. That's a completely different story. Just because it doesn't feel like it doesn't mean it's not. And I think that's an important distinction. And I'm very frustrated. Okay, let's just do this, Alan. You're going to notice a drastic downshift in the amount of guests we have on Next Level U because, quite frankly, as Alan would say, Alan says quite frankly a lot, we've gotten sick of people coming on here and saying, well, I don't have to work that hard. I just kind of do what I want. I only show up when I want. Like, honestly, it's not true. It's not true. And then they go on to say like, oh, I'm super successful and I have all these things. It doesn't align. It's not how it works. It's not how reality works. And do I think Alan and I know everything? Absolutely not. Do I think there's people out there that know way more than us? Yes, 100%. But I also know that people tend to come on here and they tend to, for some reason, make it seem way easier than it is. And I don't know why. I don't know if they think that's what we want them to say or it helps their business or their brand. I don't know. And maybe that's why our show isn't as popular as I wish it was, or I think it should be, or our brand's not as big as I think it should be, but we can't lie. we can't lie. I don't want to. Like, it's just not who I am. It's not who I am. And I know that we'll win eventually because the things that we talk about are what we live, and that's what we practice. And when we're very, very, very successful, people will say, how did you do it? And I don't ever want to say, well, it was easy. I just only did what I wanted to. I don't know. It's this weird thing where
I only worked when I felt like it. Can you imagine?
I know. Now, that's the
There's
thing.
A reason why most people statistically, Kev, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, you're good.
Statistically speaking, the average person is not fit and healthy.
I know.
Statistically speaking, the average person is not passionately in love. That's why the divorce rate is so high.
I know.
Statistically speaking, the average person is not wealthy. Statistically speaking, most people are not in love. Most people are not wealthy. They're living paycheck to paycheck. Statistically speaking, most people are obese or overweight. It's because a lot of this is fluffy stuff that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Kevin and I really want to help you improve your real life. I don't want to improve your Instagram reel. I do not care. I want you to improve your real life. I want you to be well, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I want you to actually learn what it takes, the tried and true fundamentals that it takes to truly achieve your goals. And that's the thing. It's been a little bit disheartening at times for Kevin and I, and you can probably hear it in our tonality, to realize that so few people are telling it like it is. And if they are, they're probably overly hardcore about it. There are people screaming into the microphone saying, you're effing lazy if you don't, work out every day, and, and if you don't sleep 3 hours a night. And it's a spectrum. On one end, you've got people saying all you should ever do is work, and you should never take a moment off, and you should grind, and only sleep 6 hours a night, 5 hours a night, 4 hours a night, wake up every day at 4 a.m. And then there's the other end, which is like, I kind of just do what I feel, and, it all kind of works out, and I set intentions, and I pay attention, and I try to make it happen. But if I don't feel like working, I don't. I give myself grace. And there's validity to both of those ends. That's the thing. There's validity to both of those ends. The problem is no one's telling the whole truth because it's so difficult to communicate the whole truth.
Yeah.
And so Kevin and I talk about drive to 5. We want to be at 5. We're not going to tell you not to get sleep and you can sleep when you die, work your face off, grind. But we're also not going to tell you wake up in the morning and frolic on the beach and laptop lifestyle. It's all just going to work out. You're going to have a multi-million-dollar business. It's not true. What is true is that everything is a harmony. Everything is yin and yang. And it's a holistic approach to contextually what you want to achieve in your life. Kevin and I have goals that are different than you. And if we have to work 7 days a week to achieve our goals, that's because that's what we need to do to achieve our goals. That does not mean you have to do that. But I can tell you that if you want to maximize your potential and you want to have a really successful business and you want to have a successful relationship and you want to be healthy, wealthy, and in love, then having positive habits that you do every day would help that. And I think it's just so hard to communicate in that centered place, from that centered place. And Kevin and I are working on that every single day. So we appreciate everyone who's on this journey with us. And I just want to say thank you right now to anyone who really wants the kale. Who wants the kale and not the candy. Self-discipline does work. Self-discipline is required for you to achieve your dreams. And anyone who tells you otherwise, I promise you, they're either disciplined behind the scenes without saying it, or they struggle with self-discipline in an area that they're not getting results in. And I don't care if it's Oprah Winfrey, or if it's Elon Musk, or if it's, I don't know, who's another famous person, Serena Williams, or it's Taylor Swift. All of them hate the Stairmaster just as much as you and I. The Stairmaster sucks for everybody. There's no one who like is so enlightened that they like love the Stairmaster. It's just not a thing. And I think there are certain people who have learned to like it more than others, but nobody's like pumped. I can't wait to be on the Stairmaster sweating, today. I think hard things are hard, and we have to wake up to that fact and understand that at the end of the day, it is worth it, and sacrifice for something greater is worth it. It's a beautiful thing. You have to invest today if you want a brighter tomorrow. And that's what an investor is. It's people who invest today for a brighter tomorrow, and consumers consume today, usually at the detriment of their own future.
Hi, my name's John Laurito, and I just wanted to give a big shout out to Kevin Palmieri. I had reached out to him. He had been referred to me when I had shared with a friend of mine some interest in doing a podcast, and he said, "You've got to use Kevin. He's fantastic. He's the best around. He'll get you started and off the ground and soaring high in no time." And take it from somebody who knows nothing about podcasting other than maybe saying a few things, but as far as behind the scenes, the startup, everything, I knew nothing. Kevin was phenomenal in terms of leading me through the whole process, and not just easy to work with, but really, really knows his stuff. A great combination between leading me through all the stuff I had no idea what I was doing, but also really listening to me and understanding what it was I was trying to accomplish and what my vision is. So whether you're looking for somebody to help you and get you started, or somebody, as I've done, where I'm putting it entirely in his hands because I've got total trust and confidence in him, and he is a true pro and easy to work with, any of those ends of the spectrum, you're going to have a lot of success and a lot of fun working with Kevin. Trust me. Thanks.
And like Alan said, it has to be worth it. That's the thing is, what's a good analogy for this? You won't really, it's going to be different, right? I'm not going to say in 10 years I sacrificed not going to bachelor parties because I don't really care. I don't care about bachelor parties. For me, it's not that much of a sacrifice. Genuinely, it's not. But me not being able to order UFC because I was broke, that was a sacrifice. I sacrificed watching something I love so I could afford Audible subscriptions. That is a sacrifice. I like UFC more than I like Audible. It just is what it is. Like, I'm not going to lie about it, but I also know that it will be worth it. And I think what a lot of people have found out is they've sacrificed for something that wasn't worth it. I sacrificed so much to make $100,000 at my old job. And I know I've mentioned that a couple times this week, but it's the story I'm on. And I wouldn't do it again. So imagine if I didn't experience this podcast, this business, this brand, and that's the only reference I had for advice. And somebody said, "Kev, what advice would you give yourself 5 years ago?" I wouldn't sacrifice so much for money. That's what you're getting on social media. When the reality is, I was not living a holistic life, and if I did, I would have been way more fulfilled, way more aligned, and way wealthier. It's just, that's one of my new goals. One of my new goals is to continue digging layers and layers and layers in, because I'm telling you, a lot of people are only sending out what's going to get clicked on, and nobody ever asks them about it because there's no reason to ask them about it. Like, how would you, if you believe when somebody says there's no such thing as sacrifice, you're not going to want to call them out on it because that's a belief that you have. If you believe there are things such as sacrifice, you're not necessarily
click on it or watch it, or you're going to unfollow them.
Right.
Yeah.
So interesting. It's so interesting. Our goal in this is not, number one, obviously Alan and I both get fired up about this, but I do believe it's because we're so passionate about you winning. You winning. Okay, this is what I'll say. This is the last thing I'll say about this. hold on. Can you hold space real quick? I got to text Brandon and tell him I'm running a couple minutes behind.
Yeah, man. What can I say while I hold space? Just don't be a follower, be a student. That's a Jim Rohn quote. Jim Rohn is... R.I.P. to Jim Rohn, rest in peace. He was so focused on fundamentals, and he talked about real truths. And if you've never listened to Jim Rohn, go to YouTube and listen to some of his stuff. He's very direct about the truth of what it really takes, and I appreciate his directness. So that's a quote. One of his quotes is, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better." You know, the success you achieve in life is based on the person you become. It requires sacrifice. And that's the truth that Kevin and I choose to believe, and it's working well for us. And it's just important. So yeah, go ahead.
Clearly we're fired up about this because it's something we're very passionate about. I want you to win. Almost at times to the detriment of myself. And I've said it before, like, I'll stay up sending audio messages to people, and I just want to see people win. I just genuinely want to see people win. we don't do 7 episodes a week because we want to all the time, right? That's not the way it is. Like Alan and I have stayed on these microphones until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And I genuinely wanted to be somewhere else. I wanted to be with Taryn. I wanted to be watching a movie, whatever it was. But I sacrificed that because I believe this is more important. That is going to be my frame. You will take actions directly correlated to what you believe is most important. So if you should be doing your work and you decide you're going to watch Netflix instead, you're sacrificing the quality of your work and potential in your future. If you believe health is more important than fast food, then you'll sacrifice fast food that tastes really, really good for stuff that's more nutritious and better for your long-term health. I don't think it has to be a negative thing. I don't think sacrifice has to be a negative thing, because if you're quote-unquote sacrificing for progress, that's a win. Yep. That's a win. That's a win. And this is the other thing too. If tonight, when I'm watching TV in bed, when I'm doing my 2 hours of R&R, I am sacrificing some momentum. Now, it's balanced and I should get R&R. And again, there's intricacies in there, but it works on both ends. It works on both ends. It is that. It really is that. And I think, to Alan's point, there are extremes. If you are so good with finances that you penny pinch so much to the point where just think of it to an extreme. If you're out there and you're extreme couponing to the point where it's costing you $2, okay, cool. Maybe you could dial that in a little bit. Awesome. If you're out there spending $10,000 a month on stuff that you shouldn't be buying, okay, maybe you could dial that in a little bit and you could each sacrifice a little bit more or less depending on where you are. But I think it's a law. I think it's universal. And I think that it's Alan and I's job to be truthful. And it will take us longer, and I'm okay with that. We've been okay with that since the beginning, because we can get off these mics and say, that's what we really think. That's what I really think. And I do believe it's empowering. I believe it's empowering. I believe it's empowering to do something difficult and win. And if you're out there sacrificing short-term for long-term, that's powerful, and you should be proud of that.
You should.
You should be proud of that. And I think that some people are taking that opportunity away from you if they're saying, well, there's no such thing as sacrifice. Well, there is. There is, because not everybody's wired that way. Not everybody's wired to understand that if you work your 20s very well and your 30s very well, you can be financially free in your 40s. Not everybody understands that. So it does feel like a sacrifice. It's okay if it feels like a sacrifice. Just make sure you're doing the right thing more often than not. That is the last thing I'll say.
I know we got to go, but having coached so many people for so many years, one of my clients, just imagine this. You walk into this home. It's a beautiful mansion. And let's say you make the mistake of thinking that came easy, and you don't realize that took decades of hard work. And you didn't see the decades of hard work. And then imagine that person were to tell you, no, you know what? I actually don't think that you should work that hard. Maybe that person regretted working so hard. You just have to understand that there's a survival bias. There's a narrative there that you're missing. You're missing the decade. You're missing the 20s and the hundreds of thousands of dollars of college debt, and the fact that they built a resume and went to school and started multiple businesses. I coach enough people all around the world now to understand that there is nothing that doesn't have cause and effect. Cause and effect. If you let your health go every day for 15 years, there's going to be an effect, and it's not going to be a good one. If you sacrifice every day and go to the gym and exercise every day, the effect is going to be really good long term. Just remember, the long-term causes you want, or long-term effects that you want, are usually short-term sacrifices, and that's what we'll end with. It's a choice. Everything in life is a choice, and you have a choice. You can choose to sacrifice today for a brighter tomorrow and do that on your own terms, or you can choose to consume and enjoy pleasure today. That's your prerogative for a worse tomorrow. And it isn't us that made these rules up, right? This is how the universe is set up. This is how the economy is set up. This is how life is set up. And we just want to help you win at whatever it is that you want. And if you're listening to this show, it's because you want to think more long-term. It's because you want to achieve more. It's because you want to become more. It's because you want to contribute more. And if you're going to do that, it's going to require sacrifice. And the very, very, very last thing I'll say, Kev, I love movies. We watched Gravity last night.
Never seen
I love movies more than Audible. I've read hundreds, if not thousands of books, and I promise you I enjoy movies more. I like watching movies. I like watching House MD, and I love snacks. But I'm still in the gym every night. I'm still listening to books every day and reading books every single day. And it's because it'll be worth it. It's what I believe to be best. And this podcast, we do it every day, not because we always want to do it, but because we believe it's what's best. You brush your teeth every day. You can improve every day. And we want to make sure we're there for you no matter what. We're always in your pocket. Anytime you need us, we're in your pocket. And that's why we do what we do, not because it's easy, not because it's not a sacrifice, not because it's what we always want to do, but it's because it's what we believe in, and that's what matters most.
Last thing I'll end with is a little bit of an analogy, and don't take I'm just using it for context. But oftentimes, and we've talked about this before, of people who make it, they get interviewed and they say, what piece of advice would you give yourself? I wouldn't have worked so hard. I wouldn't have worried so much. Now, I really want you to think about this. One of my favorite movie of all time is Titanic. If you ask the builders of that ship what advice they would give themselves, they would say, I wish I worried more about the lifeboats. I wish I thought more about blank. But nobody ever asked those questions. Really sit with that and think about that. A lot of people who get interviewed are successful. And a lot of people take what they say as the truth because they made it. They got where you want to go, so they must know. I'm telling you, a lot of people don't. Some people get lucky. Some people just do. Right? Alan and I have not gotten that luck yet. And honestly, I'm grateful we haven't because that means we can help people at a deeper level. But really think about that. There are people out there who aren't successful and may be struggling. And I bet you one of the things they would say is, I should have worried more about my well-being. I should have worried more about my health. Imagine interviewing somebody who just had a heart attack. I guarantee they're not going to say, well, I wish I ate more cheeseburger. They're not. They're going to say, I really wish I would have dialed this in sooner. I do. I really wish I would have. And I'm not saying that from a place of judgment. I'm saying that from a place of that's reality. But oftentimes those aren't the people who get to give the advice. So really, really think about that. Again, I know this was a different episode. Alan and I are trying to lean more into who we are. And obviously our snow globes have been shaken lately with the guest thing. And there's a lot of stuff that, Alan and I are just figuring out. And our ultimate goal, the reason we do this, our why is you, if you're watching or listening. And we just want to see you win. That's what we want. And a lot of other people want to get you to buy something. They do, and that's not our main goal. Yes, we run a business, and yes, we have a successful business, but it's about helping more than anything else. Fired up tomorrow for episode number 959, the most important key to staying consistent. That is what we will be talking about. Consistency is one of our favorite jams in the world. It is, if you're listening to this, it is the first day of May, I believe. We have a totally free course if you're interested in going deeper. If you heard this episode and say, you know what, I really like what these guys talk about and I want more, we have a free course on our website, the 5 C's, everything we learned over the last 5 years broken into an hour-and-a-half course. So totally free. It's yours. You can download it. You can take it at your own pace, and you can download the worksheets as well. That'll be in the show notes if you want it.
At NLU, we run a manifestation equation that took 33 years of contemplation to come up with. It's 8 steps. We are reviewing every single one of those 8 steps on our next monthly meetup. It is May 5th. The registration link will be in the show notes, and it is completely free, completely private, not repurposed. Ask us questions. We just want to help.
Next Level Nation, we love you. We appreciate you. We are genuinely grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, when I say this, I mean it. At NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We just want to see you win. We want to keep elevating together. And I promise that Alan and I will continue being authentic, and we will continue being truthful, and we will continue helping as much as humanly possible. That is our goal.
Absolutely. Please reach out. Talk to you soon.